It's a pleasure to be with you, such a rowdy crowd, for this incredibly exciting ceremony today. Thank you so much for joining us. I especially want to welcome the many alumni and friends, both of Notre Dame and of William & Mary, who are gathered here, whose lives have been impacted by Coach Holtz. I'm going to say just a few words about Coach's extraordinary legacy. Coach Holtz first came to William & Mary as an assistant coach in 1961. He then returned to the university as a head coach in 1969. His vision and talent soon became clear. During 3 seasons at William & Mary, his teams went 9-4 in conference play. In his second season, the Tribe won the Southern Conference Championship and went on to the Tangerine Bowl. That year, William & Mary broke the record for rushing yards. That record still ranks in the top 6 at William & Mary in our history. In Coach Holtz's third season, the team went 4-1 in conference play and finished second in the conference. The team also set a record for the most yards per punt. That record has only been surpassed once since. After the 1971 season, Coach Holtz left the Tribe for North Carolina State. And from there, he went on to the University of Arkansas and the University of Minnesota, amassing wins along the way. In 1986, Coach Holtz arrived at Notre Dame University. I should just say the rest is history. You know it started at William & Mary, though. What Coach Holtz did at Notre Dame was revitalize the football program. In his third season, he led the team to a national championship. Coach Holtz's teams advanced to bowl games for 9 consecutive seasons. In 2009, Coach Holtz was enshrined into the National Football Foundation's College Football Hall of Fame. Coach Holtz's career exemplifies excellence and flourishing, 2 core values of William & Mary. He led so many teams to victory, and in the process, he helped even more talented young people achieve success. He's going to talk to you a little bit about what matters to him most, and that's what he talked about when he and I spoke this afternoon, the success of the people that he coached in their lives. One of the people he coached was quarterback Jimmy Laycock, who would go on to follow in his coach's footsteps at William & Mary. Coach Holtz recruited and trained champions who've shown on the field and off the field. I know this because so often when I meet alumni, they tell me, I came to William & Mary because of Lou Holtz. And then they have a story about that. We'll hear so many of those stories tonight. The mark of an outstanding coach is the ability to see and to play the long game, not just on the field, not just for a season or a championship, but for the people who he coaches. Lou Holtz coached at William & Mary for 3 years. Yet he made a permanent impact on William & Mary's football tradition and the university as a whole. So let me conclude with just one more example. In his second year at William & Mary, Coach Holtz successfully recruited an exceptional and sought-after lineman. That student, Joe Montgomery, would go on to captain William & Mary football team and garner All-American honors. Since his graduation in 1974, Joe has followed his coach's model, living and lifting the next generation of bright talent. He has served on the Board of Visitors and helped many students secure internships and then jobs. We are pleased to have him join us today to pay tribute to his coach. Please join me in welcoming Joe Montgomery.
Okay, well, I don't know. Clearly not about me, but thank you, Catherine. Well, you were kind, but really, it's been phenomenally interesting to see connecting with a lot of people I haven't talked to in 50 years, literally, and a couple of you I see out there, some more often than others. And actually, as Catherine said, he really needs no introduction. I only would comment on, if you remember, and being from the 70s, you remember the band America. And they said in a song called Tin Man, Oz never did give nothing to the Tin Man that he didn't already have. And while my school teacher mother would argue about the grammar of that, the essence is that it's really already in you. And that's actually what Coach, at least for me, and I can tell you for the roughly 40 William & Mary players that I know that are here, that's really it. The guy taught you of how to believe in yourself and to be better than you thought you could be. And so simply I would say we have a lot of gratitude to Coach for that. And when I look through the crowd here, I see all kinds of successes, and a lot of it has to do with the fact they decided to come to William & Mary, which is my story. God knows what would have happened if he hadn't come to my house on Super Bowl Sunday in 1970 and signed me to come to college here. So I would simply say we're going to hear from the guy who has created some great lives for all of us. We're very fortunate. I should also point out this is the only inductee into the Athletics Hall of Fame at William & Mary who also is an awardee of the Presidential Medal of Freedom, which is... So with that, let me get the hell out of the way here, and y'all can hear from our coach, Lou Holtz.
Thank you. Oh, please sit down. Oh, whoa. I noticed who didn't stand, Chris Orich. I'll catch you later. First of all, I'm humbled and flattered to be inducted into the William & Mary Hall of Fame. It's ironic how close William & Mary and Notre Dame is intertwined in my life. The caliber of athlete we had at the University of Notre Dame was very similar to the caliber of athlete we had at William & Mary as far as intelligence, character, values, and willingness to compete. And a game at William & Mary when I was here meant every bit as much to the players as a game at Notre Dame meant to you. The difference was it meant to a lot more people at Notre Dame outside, but as far as personal, there's no real difference. And Joe, I did inscribe in your book about coming on Super Bowl Sunday to recruit him. As I said, I thought to myself as I drove home, I hope he was worth it. and I'm proud to say that he certainly was. And there were many players I had at William & Mary that could have played at Notre Dame as well. I mean, you talk about Todd Bushnell, Phil Mosser. I mean, two great running backs. You talk about Joe. And the people in coaching, unbelievable from both schools. You look at Jimmy Laycock, I mean, the most successful coach, and we got to get him in the National Hall of Fame. He has done so much for so many people for so long. And you look at Kevin Rogers, you look at Andy Heck is with the Kansas City Chiefs. My son Skip coaching at Louisiana Tech. The list goes on and on. But I am flattered to think that I played a prominent role in your life. Most important thing to me was your faith in your family. I don't care what you accomplish individually. I don't care how much money you make, how much fame you gain. If you're a failure as a family man and as a parent, your life really has sort of been wasted. And so my family and my faith has always been more important than anything else. I apologize to the players from William & Mary because when I first came here, that first year I came from Ohio State, I'm going to be another Woody Hayes. We're going to run their offense, their defense. The problem, we didn't have the Ohio State personnel, and the year was a disaster. And I sat down after that and came up with the 3 rules. And then in addition to that, we changed the offense. I loved William Mary. I could have stayed here forever, and I thought I was. I was an assistant coach here, and I got married. Went to East Liverpool, Ohio. Had to go to Iowa and finish my final exam or my oral exam to get my master's degree. Got married on a Saturday, and I said to my wife, I have to be in Williamsburg on Monday, because Williamsburg had the state coaching clinic that year. And I was to entertain Bo Schembechler and Woody Hayes on Monday morning. So I said to my wife, I'm not sure how long we're going to take to get there, but we'll leave when we can, and we'll drive a while and get a motel room and go in Sunday. So I got in the car, and she fell asleep. And I drove, and I get to the place up there where you start going south. And I thought, well, now it's time to find a hotel room. But unfortunately, there wasn't any. See, I was married July 22nd, 1961. And they were reenacting the Battle of Bull Run of July 22nd, 1861, with several 100,000 participants. I arrived at 4:30 in the morning, and I spent the night in the Bradford Inn, which was not air-conditioned at that time, I might add. But that was the start of it. We enjoyed it here. We loved the people here. When our head coach left, it came down to Marv Levy and myself. They felt I was too young at 26. They hired Marv Levy, I left. I'm in Ohio State when Marv Levy leaves in June. They called me and asked me to be the head coach at William Mary. I was flattered and honored. And I had a little difficulty with Woody Hayes getting out of it, but I came here. I was hired by an individual named Davis Y. Pascal, the president. And he said, Coach, we want to build an ACC caliber football team. South Carolina had left the ACC. They had a vacancy. We had the academics. We had the location. We needed to build that type of program. So that's what we tried to do. And we played a very, very difficult schedule. I remember my second year, we go up to Morgantown. Bobby Bowden's a friend of mine, and the game's close. But they scored late in the game with Bresson and Graxton, their 2 backs. And the score was decisive. And I said to Bobby Bowden, I said, you're a friend, why'd you run the score up? He said, that's your obligation to keep the score down. You don't like the score, you recruit better, you coach harder. But it was a wonderful experience. And we built a very, very good football team. But then Davis Y. Pascal left, and they brought in a new president who informed me that he wanted to move down a level, and not what I wanted. I always dreamt against coaching against Bear Bryant and Joe Paterno, and the list goes on and on, which is what I wanted. But if you put your faith in God, it works out. And so all of a sudden, Earl Edwards leads at NC State, and they call me, said, we're interested in you as a coach. Al Michaels will be our interim coach for this year. Would you be interested? So I wrote him back, said, yeah, I sure would, but I won't talk to you till after the season. Let's see how our season goes. We have a good football team coming back. And so we start off with our first 4 football games. We beat Tulane and Bailey Ellender. And I come home, NC State calls and said, we want you to be the head coach, or we want to interview you for the job. I said, I won't interview you. I told you it's unfair to our players. I recruit them. I'm going to be loyal to them. They said, if you won't interview them, we're going to take you off the list because the signing date's the first Saturday in December. I said, I'm sorry to hear that because I'm very interested, but I'm not going to do that to our players. They said, then you're no longer a candidate. And I hung up the phone. And I said, you stand for what you believe. And then we go down, we play North Carolina. They're 10-1. Their only loss was to North Carolina. They had a great defense. And lo and behold, we went down there without our quarterback, Stevie Regan. We had to play with John Gargano. They couldn't stop the quarterback sneaks. As a matter of fact, they had a defensive back, Lou D'Angelo from Youngstown, who tried to cover David Knight. There's no way in this world. So we get down, we play a great game. We're never behind. We're ahead 7-0, but we're never ahead by more than 7 points. You came down, we're ahead 35-28. Approximately 2 minutes to go in the game. I'll never forget it. North Carolina has 3rd and 10 on their 20. The guy, Paul Miller, left-handed quarterback, scrambles, throws the ball as far as he can. The ball bounces twice. The guy jumps on it like a fumble. They ruled it a complete pass. I had an ACC official and an SEC, but the referee was ACC, wrote it complete. I then got 2 15-yard penalties without ever using profanity. They went from their 20 to our 20 without a completion. They score with like a minute to go. They go for 2. They throw a delay pass. We knock Louis Jolly down. We deflect the pass, and he catches on the ground. We lose 36-35. I come home, I was devastated. I come home, the phone rang. It was NC State. They said, we listened to the game today. That's our arch rival. We'd like to talk to you about the job, not interview. It's yours if you want. We had one more game left, so I consented to do that. I go to the quarterback club meeting, and 2 of the great guys, I tell you, Montlake and Onker, you cannot say enough about that trainer, and George Oliver, our team physician, and Dusty Rhodes. I mean, great people. And I go there, and they give me a new car. I said, I can't take that car. I said, it's not to keep you here, it's for what you did. And I said, no, and I refused to take it. And lo and behold, I go home, I never say a word. I come home after the last game, my wife said, you won't believe what happened, honey. At halftime, they called me out of the stands today and gave me a new car. I said, we can't keep it. She said, they gave it to me and I ain't giving it back. And so the next day we drive to NC State in her car. And the point I make, I left William and Mary because they changed the direction I wanted to go. Not that there was anything wrong with the direction. It just didn't coincide with the direction I wanted to go. And the other thing was that I didn't accept the car, but my wife did. We had some great wins. We had some great moments. But it's just a beautiful place to live. Beautiful people here. Can't say enough great things. And the stadium looks beautiful, the addition you've put on it. The grounds are always beautiful. It reminds you a lot of Notre Dame in so many ways. I'm particularly grateful to many of the players from William & Mary that came back. I look forward to seeing you. I'm really grateful to the players that came here to do I guess they're doing, what is it they're doing? They're doing something in any event. I didn't. But it's just great to be around the players. And you don't always understand what a coach does or why he does it. You just try to understand that he's always going to do what's in your best interest. And I was talking to the president, and she said, how did people change their lives? I said, my high school coach. See, I never had any desire to go to college. My dad had a 3rd grade education, and nobody from our family had ever gone to college, let alone graduate. And so I didn't want to go to college. I wanted a car, a girl, a job, and $5. I'd never had any of them. That's all I wanted. And I remember in the 2nd grade, the Sister Mary Baptista wanted to know what you wanted to be. I wanted to be a fireman, a doctor. I wanted to be a garbage collector. She said, that's weird. I said, but they only work on Tuesdays. That's just the way I thought. But my high school coach came to my parents, said you ought to go to college and be a coach. He later told my wife, I meant high school. I didn't mean Notre Dame, so I exceeded. But then when I'm done and I go in the Army, my college coach was in the Navy with Forrest Evashevsky. He calls him and said, I think you ought to give Lou Holtz a graduate assistantship and let him see how a big-time program is run. So coaches have changed my life in so many different ways. And I don't try to change people's lives. I just want you to know I'm always here for you. We're going to have the 3 rules. We may not agree on things, but let's just make sure one thing, that we maintain a trust with each other, that we're always totally committed to excellence, and that we care about each other. Our players come and go. Teammates last a lifetime. And that's where you care about one another. And the only friends you have when things don't go well are those you eat with, sleep with, bleed with, pray with, and cry with. And that's your family and your football teammates, nothing else. I am so proud of my children here, and I'm very proud of my son who is in coaching profession, but I'm just proud to be in this country. I'm proud to be part of it. I'm proud to try to make a difference in people's lives. And I'm here for one other reason. God has kept me on this earth for 84 years, obviously, so that I can help somebody who needs it. If you ever have a problem, call upon me. And thank you again, Joe. Thank you and all the other players. Let's always make sure people can trust us, know that we're committed to excellence, know that we genuinely care about one another. Thank you so much for listening.